Hi, I'm Clay. Please vote for Clay's Law, Autism Early Intervention.
1 out of 150 children are being diagnosed autistic.
It was like our world came crumbling down.
When Daddy came home from work, you could get right in his face and there was nothing.
And I will feel tremendous guilt for the rest of my life for not being able to pay for this.
Autism is not something that you die young of. Most individuals with autism lead a full life, and we'll be paying for these individuals well into their adult years if we don't treat this problem early.
I don't take anything for granted anymore, the smiles, the hugs. I feel like I'm a mom doting on a baby sometimes because I know where he was and how far he's come. During his greatest tantrums, there was one point where he threw his head back into my face and gave me a bloody nose and a black eye. He tantrumed most of the day.
Early intervention in this disorder affects the ultimate prognosis of the individual.
We're born with more neurons in our brain than what we use, and as we learn, we make connections, and then we stop using these other ones. And in autism, we know that's gone awry.
Tantrum kid.
When Clay was diagnosed at age 2, it was recommended that we do an ABA program.
Comprehensive treatment program for children with autism should entail 3 main things. One, it should start as early as possible. There's fairly good evidence that suggests that children who are intervened upon earlier do better. The second was that the intervention should be fairly intense, meaning at least 25 hours a week. And the third is that it should have a strong family component. Family should be actively involved.
He started at age 2, and then by age 4.5, we had completed programs and he went into kindergarten unassisted. And at age 4, we had him reevaluated to see where he should be, and that's when his diagnosis was completely removed. The neuropsychologist said he no longer meets the criteria for an autism diagnosis or any diagnosis on the autism spectrum.
One Clay is worth it, but when you can have 40 to 50% of the population of autism make it to be where Clay is, that will really make a difference.
I remember the phone call from my daughter on her birthday when she found out that Sydney was diagnosed as being autistic. It shattered her world. At about 2.5 years of age, or a little bit before then, we put our granddaughter Sydney into intensive therapy, about 25 hours a week. Fortunately, in our financial circumstance, we could afford that.
Our families weren't in a position to help us at that time, and we finally just took a second mortgage out on our home, and we drained all of our savings and put everything onto our credit card so that we could afford to pay for the initial treatment.
Gotcha! This is my baby brother, Judge with it.
There's treatment and it works. There's just this big argument over who pays. And so it's either left on the backs of families to find the finances themselves, or their children go without. Eventually this will come around to haunt society. When I called my insurance company, they said autism is not a covered diagnosis and there's nothing you can do for it.
So what is autism?
It's a fast child growing disability.
Can you stop?
No!
Why not?
No!
We brought our daughter in for an evaluation when she was 3 years and 3 months old. And it was clear to the psychologist within the first 10 to 15 minutes that she had autism.
Unfortunately, these programs are not funded by insurance companies or by school systems here in Utah, and it is an out-of-pocket expense for the families. So a lot of families, after the initial contact, we don't hear from them because of the expense that they realize that they will be incurring.
He didn't hear from me again because I couldn't afford it. I knew that I couldn't ever afford the program that's needed to help recover our daughter. And while I have seen improvements in our daughter, I know now that she's 4.5 that she may never be like Clay.
throw it to the top. Oh yeah! Nice one!
Why should I have it for my son and the next neighbor not have it for theirs? It should not be a matter of finances. A child's future should never hinge on someone's finances. Every child should have that opportunity because it's the right thing to do.
A shattering of our lives has become a bright ray of hope. I had the impression, first learning about autism, that there was no hope to change. And I think that's the impression in society. But this is largely, I would call it, curable.
I've seen it firsthand that our kids can recover and they can live a normal, functional life. But the toll, financial toll that's taking on these parents is tremendous.
After working with dozens of adults and adolescents who were autistic for life, to see Clay as a vibrant, joyful child who has a tremendous future, that is the kind of thing every child with autism deserves, and we need to do everything we can to ensure that they achieve it.
And don't forget to vote for Clay's Law.